It was a question about diabetes. What type of foods can you eat to decrease your sugar intake? So one of the things you can focus on are when we think about sugar, we think about sweets. So people naturally will try to stay away from candies and ice cream and stuff like that, all the sweet stuff. Where we really have to look out for are what we call starches or complex carbohydrates. So they're a different type of sugar. And this is a sugar that comes in a long chain that when you eat it, breaks it down into that sweet sugar that you get from candies. We get that type of sugar from breads, pastas,
Oh Lord.
rice, and even beans have a lot of protein, but they have they have sugars in it too. So when we sit there and try to avoid all the sweets, we're not doing ourselves a favor, because the real dangerous sugars come from breads, pastas, rice, and those types of foods. Now, the caveat is, and this is why I said it's a two answer. If I were to tell my patients, you need to avoid rice, you need to avoid bread, you need to avoid pasta, beans, I might get hit or I might lose a patient. So the realistic thing, and it's all about being realistic. Life isn't about, being able to do the ideal thing all the time, because sometimes it's not possible. I'm a realist. If I want people to cut down on their sugar intake, I'm not telling my patients, and I know I have a lot of patients from the Caribbean, I have a lot of patients from different parts of the world where rice is a staple of their meals. They eat it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, midnight snack. So I don't tell them you got to cut out rice, because they'll look at me weird. What you really have to do is you have to control your portions. We have, and I'm from a Cuban family, Caribbean. I know that a lot of people share in this. We will serve a whole plate of rice and then put the meat and stuff on top of the rice.
Yes.
So I'm telling people, listen, instead of giving ourselves a whole plate of rice, let's cut it down to half a plate of rice for a couple weeks and see how we do with that. And then once you're getting used to doing that, then we can cut it back a little bit more. I never tell my patients to cut it out completely, because I want my patients to be happy, and I want my patients to be able to improve their health. And if you tell them you have to go from a full plate to zero rice ever again, it's just not realistic.
Right.
If you tell somebody to start working out, you're not telling them to go run a marathon. You're telling them to go walk for about 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, or whatever it is. So when it comes to cutting down your sugar intake, especially for diabetics, watch the bread, watch pastas, watch rice. Those are the things that are going to give you the biggest problems. And it's not just because it contains all that bad sugar, but because of how much we eat of it.
One of the things that you said that I think is very important is to look at your portions. And so from the family I come from, rice was a staple every night.
Oh man, we gotta have rice.
If you didn't have rice, my daddy thought the whole meal was ruined. And so rice has been that for us, not so much in my family now, but it's a part of our culture. Rice is and pasta and bread. Don't forget the butter on the bread. But so those types of things. But understanding that you're not saying you can't have it, but what we are saying is that we need to limit the amount of our intake.